Oh, by the way, the mixer's still over there with a bunch of cords hanging out.
Great.
I swear that I try to get some music going. I couldn't do it. So if it doesn't work the first time, we give up. It's my motto.
I will give you 6 months before I ask you again. How is that?
You. My name's Tom Wise.
And I'm Melinda McKinsey. You're going to unpack some shit with us today. It is Monday, April something. I don't know.
April something.
Here's something so funny real quick, Tom. I was doing a segment this morning, and so I called my daughter real quick because they were being kind of loud, right? They were laughing and stuff. And I go, hey, I just want to remind you, I'm getting ready to go live on air. And my daughter very confidently says, it's Sunday. Tim, what are you talking about? And so her boyfriend says, yeah, and they're laughing. It's Sunday. What are you? And so because of the pandemic, I had a moment of like, is it Sunday? Because they made me doubt myself because I'm ready in front of the camera, right? I'm ready to go. And I thought, so I actually looked on my phone because I panicked and I go, excuse me, I am right. And my daughter goes, are you kidding me? She just like lost her mind. This is what the pandemic has done, you know, because if you're not out in the world and feeling a rhythm and a time of what's going on, days are a blur. So how are your days? Does it feel like a Monday to you, Tom?
You know, without a calendar in front of me and without work, I don't know what day it would be.
Yeah.
It's like with the weekends here, I get 2 days off. 2 days off from what?
The weekends are exactly the same.
Yes. Well, there's fewer emails on the weekends. That's about it.
That is, you know, that's a good solid hit right there. You're right. I don't really worry about my emails on the weekend because I don't worry about work. I don't have to actually work on the weekends unless it's QVC. But it was so funny that they were so confident. And because they were confident, I lost all my confidence. I thought, I'm wrong.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So what would you like to talk about?
All right. I want your opinion on something.
Yes.
So I'm on Facebook. I'm on the Facebook. And I see, I don't know if it's a meme or just whatever. Someone's constructed a photograph with some information, right?
Okay.
Here's a photograph of a female professional basketball player. And here's a photograph of a male professional basketball. This happens to be Lebron James. And I did not recognize or remember this woman's name. Okay.
Okay.
LeBron James makes $42 million a year, you know, has a $37 million shoe contract, blah, 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 blah. She makes $375,000 a year, has no shoe contract. And they're saying, see, this is wrong. People aren't getting paid the same. I'm saying that's a wild comparison. I said, hey, let's look at female models. This female model makes $27 million a year. This male model, he's top in his class. He makes $587,000 a year. I don't think it's a fair comparison. LeBron James versus top female.
Yeah, I agree like 90% with you on that one. I see why people are doing it.
It's not like a doctor and a doctor.
Right.
2 doctors at a Chicago hospital.
Right. I get why people are doing it, right? Because especially for women in sports right now, you don't draw the crowds. The crowds are the money maker for you, right? LeBron makes that because of the money, the revenue that the crowds come to see him. Until women get promoted at that high level, they're not going to be able to make that kind of money. So I think the underlying thing is you need to promote, or can you get that kind of an audience for female basketball players? I don't know.
I mean, that's a perfect example of the market demanding and the market commanding and the market responding to people's desires. There's not a huge desire to see female basketball. I mean, yeah, I've not watched much. I don't know many women that watch much female basketball.
Yeah. So and I know they're tremendous. Do you think it's a historical thing, or do you just think it's a thing overall where people just aren't going to be that interested in seeing women play basketball?
It's an interesting question. I mean, our female soccer team, USA soccer team, is amazing. They've won national championships and international championships, but they still don't draw like Super Bowl numbers. They're never going to get 87 million viewers on a Sunday afternoon for whatever reason. It is what it is type of a deal.
Do you think it's because they're not being promoted properly?
I think, you know what? I think moneyed people put money in where they think they can get money out.
Yeah.
They thought, okay, I could throw $1 million in promoting female soccer and make $3 million in return. They would do that, but it's like, we run ads and the market is what the market is. The interest is low. And, I mean, they've been using like college football. College football generates all the cash for the entire college that goes into the rowing team and the badminton team and icing team, which those sports don't create any money. It's all the money is generated by the football team, and it allows all these other athletics to play too.
So because we've historically promoted football, and because men historically are the majority of the people that watch those kind of sports, it'd be a crazy experiment to have someone put a bunch of money behind badminton and make it insane, make the badminton outfit something like, would that become a new trend-setting thing?
You can affect a little bit. I mean, I remember 6 years ago, ESPN was all in on bowling. We're going to promote the shit out of bowling and try to make this thing, hey, it's a winter sport. This is going to be perfect after football season, that January till April till football comes back. We're going to go all in on bowling. People like what people like. I mean, they did female football and had the girls dress up in bathing suits and try to promote it. I mean, it's ridiculous. It becomes sexist, but but people like what they're going to like. You can't force them to like something that they don't want. I mean, football players in the 60s used to have a part-time job. In the off season, the guy worked at the, car. he sold cars, or maybe he did physical labor in the off season, cement worker, because he wasn't making any money.
So when ESPN promoted bowling, did people watch?
It's always a trade-off. Clearly, I'm not going to say it. They don't tell you what happened, but since they're not doing it anymore, we kind of know what the result was.
Got it. Yeah, bowling is not. I don't know. Can they really do sexy bowling? Because it really sex sells, right? You need those players that you're like.
Right. Well, there used to be a female Jan Stevenson on the female golf tour.
Okay.
Very attractive blonde lady, very good player. You've seen the same thing happen with female tennis. Wasn't that the Russian blonde girl? I mean, she never won anything, but she was crazy to watch. Long blonde hair, great figure, and she'd be competitive. She wasn't bad. She was probably in the top 20, but they'd get a lot of viewership when she was playing.
Yeah.
Kind of an odd thing. You want to be known for your athletic prowess, not necessarily your looks, but whatever brings people to the TV set.
That's the thing, right? And I feel like someone like her who's trained forever, right? She finally gets to that level, and then the machine takes over. So I don't know that she would have any
What
power.
takes over? I'm sorry.
The machine takes over, right?
Yeah, so, I mean, yeah.
She doesn't have any power over whether she's sexy or not, because that's how they want to make her. That's who she's going to be, I think.
Right. And then people either tune in because they're interested. Like you look at Tiger Woods, a phenomenon. I mean, who's going to think we're going to have a black golfer dominate golf for 6 years? Really? I don't think old white guys are interested in seeing a black guy, dominate there. Couldn't be any whiter of a sport than golf. That's a high level, rich guy, country club. We're going to have a black guy dominate golf.
Is that changing now?
Of course. Yeah, it's changing, but it just goes to show that people will gravitate to see the unusual and to see the exceptional, regardless of the color, race, creed, or color. That wasn't the plan. I'm sure if they had their druthers, they'd have a nice white boy from Michigan being dominate golf for 6 or 7 years. So I'm just saying, you have a female athlete that would be exceptional. Well, maybe that would draw people to female sports. I mean, somebody that's head and shoulders above everybody else, or can do something, dominated sports the way like Wilt Chamberlain dominated basketball, or Michael Jordan dominated basketball. Those few guys. There were times basketball was going down until Magic Johnson and Larry Bird came in. Okay. And then they got a boost, and then Michael Jordan boosted it again. But it was like very average. Ratings were low. Nothing special going on here.
I didn't know that. And
Yeah.
you made such an interesting point. I never thought of it this way. So the money behind golf, I never considered the fact that the power behind golf, they have an idea of who they want to be the powerhouse. I never thought of it that way. Because you would think if it's about money, you would want all kinds of different people playing because it makes it more interesting.
International. Yes. That's a very good point. Now yesterday, the Masters was won by a person from a Chinese nationality, I believe, or Japan.
Okay.
And it's an interesting point. Clearly, us Americans, it's our game. The Masters, is our deal. Do we want an American to win?
Huh.
Or if that's a short-term win, our boy wins our own tournament. But think about this internationally, it's a much better idea if the guy from Britain or Italy or Japan or China wins the Masters. Now it's truly an international sport.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
football's always trying to expand. We play a game in England, a couple of games in England every year, trying to expand the sport. Basketball, I think, is trying the same thing.
That's so interesting. I never thought of it that way, but now I'm thinking if I came into a pile of money, I would almost want to just try to promote badminton and see what happens. Like make them sexy, make cool outfits.
That would certainly be a try, but I would want a natural, like I feel like this rowing is going to become a thing in the next 10 years.
Okay.
Just my gut,
Okay.
because people are aging. They don't, the gym is hard, something easy. So I'd like it if it had like a very natural entropy before I just try to start it from raw. No, I'm gonna come invent this crazy bicycle and just see if I can start it from square one. Yeah, it's best if you try to get something that has a little flow, kind of like the stock market. Don't fight the tape. If energy stocks are selling or moving, get in with the energy stocks. It's hard to start something going the other direction. I don't know, badminton, you'd have to have an exceptional player, a Tiger Woods like player in that badminton sport to capture, people's interest.
And start promoting it. Badminton sales would go up because that's something people could buy and
Absolutely.
do it.
Well, you're seeing how people are now Googling chess because of the chess show on Netflix, that expensive.
The Queen's Gambit, that was an amazing, I loved the Queen's Gambit.
I just finished that.
Did you like it?
It was wonderful.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it didn't hurt that the woman was just lovely and interesting and pretty to look at.
Yeah. Well, this was some fantasy chess player who wrote that piece. You know that.
Well, the actress said when they were doing it, they had no idea that it would take off. And they were joking on set how they were making chess sexy, not realizing that they really did. They had no idea, like when you do your HSN shows, you have no idea how it's good, how the audience is going to respond, if it's going to be successful, because you're in that room with the cameras or
in a vacuum.
You're in a vacuum. So when you're on set filming something, since this was something that had never been seen before, they had no concept of how, the timing was right. Everybody was just staying home at the pandemic. It was an interesting, because what's the saying that I'm not going to watch a 3-hour movie, but I'll watch 6 1-hour segments of the same show, right?
I've never heard that saying, but I can definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, because no one wants to sit through a 3-hour movie, but the Queen's Gambit was how many?
I think 7 48-minute shows or whatever it was.
It's a lot. It's a lot, but I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
So going back to your initial question, did you comment on that question?
Well, I mean, let me just say, doctor, pay discrepancy, similar qualifications. I wouldn't stand for that. I would be against that. Absolutely. No. And I think that pay discrimination, I want to, when people complain about it, I want to see it. You can't have human resources. We're not paying our male nurses more than we're paying our female nurses with similar credentials. I'd like to see it. Salespeople. Sales is based on performance. So if you're selling more, I've seen females make more money than males just because they're selling more. Well, that's how sales is. I want to see where the pay discrimination comes in.
So what I'm hearing you say is that you don't believe there is a pay discrimination between men and women?
Yeah.
Holy shit. You just opened a can of
I,
trouble.
I want to know, is it a lawyer? What's the profession in which the pay is being different? Are teachers being paid differently because they're men and women? Are lawyers
I,
being paid differently because they're men and women?
yes. I'm gonna pull up articles, and on Wednesday we'll discuss it, because yeah, it's a real problem.
Now, yeah,
Yeah,
I think the basketball thing is ridiculous because it's
I hear
two different
you.
worlds.
But I understand why they did it, with the thinking of, hey, this is the same thing, when it really is very different.
Yeah, because there's $8 billion of the cash in this bucket
Yeah.
to pay him, and there's 500 million over here.
But I mean, surely you've heard, do you think all the stories you've heard about the pay with men and women, you
I
think it's
think
all
20 years ago it was correct, or in the 80s it was correct, but now you can't tell me teachers are being paid differently. What do
I'll
you
look
think?
it up.
Yeah, you think a male teacher is getting paid more than a female teacher teaching the same?
Especially teachers, just
How's
because,
that?
well, exactly. How is that? I have a niece that is in the public school system, and the story, you wouldn't believe how badly teachers are paid, and how it's not always based on your experience. It's based on politics.
I'd be very interested to know. I
Yes.
mean,
What I
all the
learned
laws
is,
that are in place, if you got paid less than some guy with the same experience,
there's also laws in place that police shouldn't kill people, but yet it happened again this weekend.
and then here we go, that we go to court and people get put in jail if they violate.
But not always.
Of course, not always. All
Yeah,
right, I'd be interested to see what happens. We'll unpack some shit on Wednesday.
Wednesday's going to be a big day. No, what I'm saying is, over the weekend there were two big cases in the news. I'm not talking about what happened during this Derek Chauvin, however you say his name, trial. I'm talking about the 20-year-old that was killed this weekend by police, getting pulled over, and the military, a lieutenant, I think in the army, black man pulled over. The whole thing was videotaped, and he kept saying, hold on, calm down, my hands are up, I'm doing nothing wrong. They still maced him, they kicked
I
him.
just watched that video 20 minutes ago.
Like, it's so unnecessary.
You know what's going to happen? We got to thin the herd. Immediately, the cop got fired. They're done. Anybody else want to screw up like this? We're not protecting these guys anymore. And it's finally the pendulum is finally swinging. And it's going to be a couple of years before these idiots are weeded out, and we end up with a decent police force.
I hope. I mean, it's because of the body cameras or people videotaping. I mean, we have videotape of this cop killing George Floyd, and yet there's still debates about it. Like, we all watched him kill him, and yet there's debates like, well, what if he was taking drugs? What if, he's kind of a criminal?
You know
like,
what? All this stuff has to be handled. It all has to be done. This is the way to do it, one step at a time. I know it's aggravating. I think he killed the man as well. I think it was ridiculous, but we've got to go be very scientific and very specific with the whole thing.
What's ridiculous is he's done this previously. Now that, they're not allowed to talk about it in court, but it's shown he was reprimanded in the past for doing this to other people. Why does he still have a job? You know what I mean?
You know what? Here's the deal. The next guy that kneels on somebody's neck, he's going to get fired. He's not going to kill anybody, but he's going to get fired. So just like this guy who maced the black guy yesterday, he's going to get fired. We're not handling any nonsense. You want to do nonsense, kneel on people, spray people, you're going to get fired. Boom.
Well, I understand what you're saying, because it seems like that's the right thing to do. But unfortunately, the history in the police department has been, you can be fired from one station and you can be rehired in another one. They rehire these guys.
That's all. Okay. You can rehire this guy who sprayed this guy, but guess what? This guy's going to put your station in peril, because they're going to get sued for some nonsense they did. What did they pay George Floyd's spouse, widow, family? $21 million?
Something around there.
Yeah. So who wants to hire these cops that are going to cost your community $21 million? Nobody.
Well, I feel like there's still enough bad cops that they're happy to take them.
I'm not saying it's a done deal. I'm just saying people are going to say, really, we're not going to take this guy.
In the perfect world, I'm with you. I just think we're still very broken.
I agree, but I think we're going in the right direction. I finally feel
so.
Like steroids in baseball and priests and little boys. We're weeding out the shit.
I hope so. Well, I looked up what were the top 10 pastimes during this last year during COVID. You want to guess what some of the top 10?
Top 10
Guess
pastimes?
the number one. You're never going to guess what was the number one, according to The Voice, the number one pastime during COVID in 2020.
Okay, may I ask a question or two?
Yes.
Is it a singular activity or is it something you need to is it a group activity?
Singular.
Number one pastime. Okay, it's not going to be reading a book. That was number 10. Number one was, okay, binge watching is too easy. That was number 3. Cooking was number 2. Number 1 was exercising. Done. Phew, that was exhausting.
Woo! Here's the top 10 in order according to The Voice. Number 1.
Oh no! Don't you want to do the reverse?
Number 1. Candle making.
No way.
And once I read that, I was like, you know what? I did read about that. And I started researching. Lots of people were making candles.
Oh my God.
I never once
America's high as a kite.
Some of my friends started making candles.
Making candles. Did you ever listen to Cheech and Chong?
Long time ago, sure.
Well, that was a segment. Some guy who had all these degrees in science and whatever. He found himself just getting high all the time. And what do you do now? Making candles. Making candles. There you go. All this.
Apparently, it's a good pastime to keep you busy, relax you.
There you go.
The number 2 pastime, bird watching.
Oh, I could have guessed that.
That's a good one, right?
That's part of my pitch when I'm selling binoculars.
A lot of my friends, and I know I became obsessed with my bird feeder. I bought all these implements for my birds. So definitely that. The third one surprised me. And tell me if you've heard anybody saying they're doing this, playing drums. Drums.
Huh.
Drum sets off the charts. Did not know that. Maybe because you can get your aggression out, banging on the drum. I don't know.
Yeah, I like drumming.
Okay, this one I've never even heard of. Tell me if you know what this is. I had to look it up. Making soft tie blankets. I guess people were making blankets.
Like knitting or something? Oh, tie blankets. I wonder if you're tying bigger things together, like knotting up handkerchiefs or knotting up,
Yeah, that was 4th. The 5th is learning how to tattoo.
Really?
Learning how to tattoo.
Like a prison tattoo?
Is it because people wanted to get tattoos, but they couldn't go out and get them? So they thought, I'll do it myself? Because, that's a big thing now. Lots of people get tattoos. It's like a thing. And they say once you get one, you get obsessed and you have to do more and more and more, right? Here's another one.
More.
According to The Voice, the top.
Wait a minute.
So
we're up to 5 already. And 5 is tattoo. I can't imagine what the next 5 are going to be.
Number 6.
And we're up to cooking yet? Have I been right on any of mine?
Calligraphy.
Ooh, I like that.
I like it too.
So, you go to Amazon, you get a book or watch a video on YouTube.
Yes. This next one kind of blew me away. Ventriloquism.
What you say?
Did you know anybody that did that during COVID? I don't.
I famously did my first ventriloquist post last March with Hammy and Sammy, Grabby and Handy and Sandy.
Okay.
I was wearing a mask at the time, so it made the ventriloquism very easy.
Very easy. The next is making jewelry. That makes sense to me. Making jewelry.
I love it. I love these things.
Hula hooping, number 9.
Really?
Hula hooping. I bought a hula hoop and I do play with my hula hoop during the day.
Huh.
Hula hooping.
It's great.
When was the last time you used a hula hoop?
I'm horrible. You know what? I would bet money because I've got pretty good rhythm, to play the drums, right? I've always been very naturally rhythmic like that.
Yes.
I'm, great in bed, of course.
Of course.
I've always been, I'm a decent dancer. I don't embarrass myself on the dance floor. I thought hula hooping, this is going to be, I can do this in my sleep. I can't hula hoop for shit.
It takes a very specific ability of moving lots of different body parts at the same
It's
time
like 3 swirls and it's down.
to keep it going. When I got the hula hoop, I was showing my daughter because I'm very ancient compared to her, and she was like, "What are you?" I was like, "Check this out," and I'm doing the hula hoop, and she's like, "Well, I had no idea." I'm like, "This is the best exercise." So I'm going to leave this down here because someone on TikTok said they did 10 minutes of hula hoop in the morning and they lost inches off their waistline.
Why not?
10
Why
minutes
wouldn't
is
you?
a lot of hula hoop. There's cool it's very fancy. They have glow in the dark hula hoops that light up. They
I
dance.
wish I could hula hoop. I need to maybe I need to check out the YouTube. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Clearly I am.
It has to do with the placement of your feet. If your feet aren't broad enough apart and the way you move your hips, if your feet are too close together, you can't get the stance you need to keep it going. So that's it. And then the last thing is audiobooks.
Oh.
People couldn't focus on reading, but they still missed their stories. So they would do audiobooks while they were doing other things around the house.
All of my guesses were wrong. I didn't get one right.
I don't think you came up with one of these. Now, this is according to The Voice, and they're calling them pastimes.
Yeah,
so
I get it. Yeah. So maybe they're extra, additional pastimes. You gotta believe people were streaming videos and
Yes.
Okay.
And that was obviously not on the list. And maybe people weren't being honest and they didn't want to say they're streaming videos. So they're like, I'm making candles.
That's crazy. Oh, I did learn something, by the way, that I was rowing incorrectly. Did I tell you this?
What did you mean?
I was rowing incorrectly when I went to my class. I went to that class last Sunday.
What'd you learn?
Just like I need to learn how to hula hoop. I thought I was rowing correctly, but in the beginning I started rowing. It's like, gosh, this is all arms. I'm all arms. And then I was sent a video to show me how to engage my legs more. Oh yeah, now I feel my legs going on. But then when I went to the class, it's like, I'm releasing, I'm starting my downhill stroke with my legs when it should start with my arms. It's like, oh, there you go. So my technique I've been doing it the wrong way for a couple of months. You think that get on this rower, everybody's going to just row. Like how could you do it? How could you do it incorrectly?
I would be afraid I would hurt my back if I did it wrong.
Well, we can start slowly, but it was very interesting. When my technique was corrected, I did much better.
Okay. And you haven't hurt yourself from rowing, right?
No, that nice sore. I'm sore. Not, the first month my muscles were sore. Now it's just kind of like, all right, it doesn't hurt me anymore to do the rowing. And I find that my legs are a little bit sore during the show because I'm engaging my legs the way it should be.
No, that's really good. I love my treadmill, still do the treadmill. It's like an addiction now. Like I can't wait to get on it. It just makes me so happy.
Isn't that wonderful? And basketball starts for me tomorrow.
Oh, in real life basketball.
We've got everybody has to sign a waiver. We're all, vaccinated up, except for the guys that aren't going to get vaccinated up for whatever reason.
Is there a criteria? Like if you're not vaccinated, can you still play?
The gym has now said that you're required to sign a waiver saying you don't have a fever and you don't believe you have the COVID. I said,
so it's the honor system.
Yes.
I think America has proved that works. Okay. Well, clearly when you play basketball, you won't be wearing masks. So you've got to hope that people are being honest because you're going to be breathing on each other.
No doubt about it, but I'm vaccinated. So if I get sick, hopefully it's a mild case. I have a friend though, my friend, 43 years old, she's suffering. She had it, the COVID, and a couple months ago, and she's got some serious problems going on.
And she wasn't able to get the shot yet when she got it?
No, not now. She's not going to be dead from it, but it's like exhausted going upstairs,
We're still learning what the long-term COVID response is.
People are crazy to think it's going to be nothing.
I have to agree with you on that one. Yes. Well, good luck playing basketball. That's going to be interesting to hear how that turns out. I am in the other universe of I've been home since March of 2020.
It's been over a year now.
It's been over a year, and I don't go anywhere in public. So I'm at the extreme end of fear, which I recognize that. So I haven't been vaccinated. We've talked about this just because it's impossible right now. It's just now that they lowered it to 16 and over, which I get now everybody's going in, which it's only fair. Let the kids that have to go to school get their vaccines. I'm working from home. It's fine. But it feels like a crazy time right now because there's so many different levels, right? There's people that are fully vaccinated, people that are half vaccinated, people that are not vaccinated. And so
sounds like a coffee order at Starbucks. I need a half vax.
It's a weird time of what is safe.
Right. It is weird.
I have no idea. I don't know what is safe. So what are you called when you're afraid to leave your house? What's that called? Agoraphobia?
Agoraphobia. Well, either that or sweaters made out of bunny fur.
I hope that I'll find a safe way to transition. I'm unaware of what that's going to be at this point.
My girls drove to Indiana to get the first shot over the weekend.
Why did they have to go so far?
Because you can't get it in Chicago.
Why?
They're not offering it. They're offering it to all Illinois. Chicago's still 65 and over. And they're like, really? Yeah, their boyfriends had to go, drive 2 hours south in Illinois to get the shots.
I had no idea. Why would Chicago, which is a very big city?
I don't know what. I think that they haven't lowered the limits yet.
Who's the governor in Chicago, in Illinois? Is
Governor Jackass?
Well, I'm just curious. Is it a Republican? Is that why it's?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's political. I think it's just flowed. Okay. There's some areas like in Michigan, they don't have enough vaccine.
Which shot did they end up getting?
I think they got Pfizer. Okay,
interesting.
So they got to get back.
That's interesting. All right. So I also looked up what were the trendiest food delivery orders of 2020.
Wow. Well, it's lobster thermidor for sure.
Of course.
I watched an interesting, not quite a documentary, but on the History Channel about the evolution of frozen food and Swanson's versus Stouffer's.
Oh.
It's all relatively new. That all happened in the late 50s.
Yeah. We weren't really raised on that because my mom stayed home.
Yeah, neither did I. I've had a handful of frozen dinners, full Hungry Man frozen dinners in my lifetime. But it was very popular in the 50s and 60s.
Why was that created? What was the need?
Well, the guy, Swanson, takes over for his dad in 1950, whatever, right? And he commands his sales force to dominate turkeys, right, for the Thanksgiving season. We should own the turkey business. Don't buy every turkey that's out there, because we don't want any. Our competition, we're gonna crush them by owning all these turkeys. Okay. So Thanksgiving comes and goes, and the guy who he told to do this comes back, and here's a report. We've got 35,000 pounds of turkeys. Oh, we sold 35,000 pounds of turkeys? No, that's what we have left after we dominated the turkey business. And right now they're on train cars, in freezer cars, and we've got nowhere to go with them. What would you like to do?
Oh, you're kidding.
Nope. And so from this problem, he engages his 22-year-old female food scientist to come up with a solution, because he sees trays being served on airplanes. Can't we do something like this? And so she solves the problem. It's very interesting. The solution comes where you don't cook the food completely all the way. Let's say turkey needs to be cooked, I'll just throw out some times, 30 minutes, all right? Well, okay. Your potatoes and your carrots only need 8 minutes, and this one needs 4 minutes.
Right.
So they cook them to the point where they're all going to get cooked in 10 minutes in the oven. So they all finish together with the time on the thing. So that was one way. And then Swanson was more of a gourmet guy. He was sold high-end mac and cheese in in Ohio. And he kept on getting requests to have food. Can we take this out? Can we just come get it and bring it home? It's like, we're not doing that here. And then some worker leaves a plate of food in the freezer, and he's one day he walks out. Who left this in here? Who left this food in here? You know, and he's then looking at it, goes, huh? Maybe this is how I can deliver my mac and cheese to my customers that want to take it home.
Wow.
So between those two things, and it was very interesting. Swanson also led the way in microwaves, microwave development and developing their fast food for microwave, whereas Stouffer jumped over Swanson because Stouffer did the microwaves and Swanson did not.
Oh, okay. All right. Because I mean, those started out being in the oven, right? That was the thing with frozen foods. You put it straight in the oven.
Yes, but he was about to get out of the business until he decided to go with the microwave. It's very interesting.
I love stuff like that. It's always good to know why things are the way they are.
And Swanson's big deal was to call it the TV dinner. He coined that phrase, TV dinner, put it right on the package.
It's a good, I remember talking about TV dinners.
I mean, nobody had a TV in the early 50s. Everybody had a TV in the early 60s.
And how great is that to eat your meal in front of the TV?
Why talk to you kids?
Well, that's good stuff right there.
Let's watch the news.
Wow. I did see a funny meme about airlines and food, and it showed, did you ever have the experience when you were younger flying, how fancy flying was? Like they actually had real meals and, so they were showing someone clearly in first class. Cause I will say the few times I was fortunate enough recently to fly first class because I was traveling so much, they do give you real silverware and the meals are better. They're fresher and better. It's not the crap they give everybody else. But they showed like a picture from the 60s where they're bringing the cart down with the turkey and the meme says, wow, can you imagine how exciting airline food is going to be in 20 years? And then they show a picture with a bag of pretzels and a Coke. Because
there you go. Stop complaining.
That's out the door, man. Do not expect fancy food on the airplane.
Yeah, I remember getting fed on the airplane as a matter of course.
I mean, it's nice when you have the upgrade because they treat you different. You get glasses, so you're allowed to kill people with glass and knives if you're in first class because the whole reasoning they say is it's
thanks for telling the terrorists.
So now everybody knows, just go to first class. You get real stuff in first class.
Thanks for telling the terrorists.
I think the food is good, I still think the food.
There you go. You're allowed to like stuff from the airline food. You're allowed to like airline food.
I like it. So do you want to guess? Here's how they decided what the trendiest food was. They took 2019's orders, and then they took 2020's orders, and they watched where the increases came in and what the increases were from 2019 to 2020. And they said it was interesting to watch the change in comfort, the level in comfort food that was being purchased as opposed to, healthy alternatives, right?
Yeah.
So guess which trendiest food delivery order of 2020 was the number one with a 318% increase in the order.
So I'm not going to go with your classic pizza. People probably have had it with pizza. So they wanted something that's a little bit different. I don't disagree with that mac and cheese, although I don't know where you'd get it on the regular, but people would order that if they had an opportunity to do that. I'm going to say they ordered sushi.
Oh, that's a good guess.
There you go.
A good guess. According to this, with a 318% increase is the spicy chicken sandwich.
Really? From anywhere in particular?
No, this wasn't a breakdown. This is from Grubhub overall in the United States, right? I don't know if you remember the chicken sandwich wars that occurred with Popeyes. Do you remember that?
How many people died over that chicken sandwich war?
It was a war.
Tales to be told.
You what? I had never really been curious about what Popeyes chicken sandwiches taste like because I've had them at other places. They're very good. I mean, Popeyes was so smart. They marketed so smart that they were running out of the sandwiches because everybody decided, to get that. So with an increase at number 2 of 299%, the chicken burrito bowl.
Chickens are like, dang.
Sorry, chickens. Next, right behind it, 287% increase, chicken wings. Who doesn't love chicken wings? We all
I
like
do.
chicken wings, and they're just so fatty and so not good for you. Then number four, I really made me happy with an increase of 221% from 2019, waffle fries.
Well, really? That's
Waffle
Chick-fil-A. Yeah,
fries.
love waffle
Waffle
fries.
fries.
Hmm.
And then this was interesting too. I'm surprised with so far down the line. Now, these are delivery orders, right? Being delivered to your home. These are not walk-in, these are deliveries. At number five, with an increase of 206%, is cold brew coffee.
Really?
Having that delivered to your house.
You can't make a coffee at your house and stick it in the refrigerator?
Here's the thing, people like to have their coffee made for them. I think people got so spoiled by going out into the world. Here's the funny thing that we did in our home. We didn't order coffee to be delivered. We
No,
invested.
nobody did.
No, there's an increase.
Oh, I thought you meant your home as a kid. I was having a memory.
Oh, no, no,
flashback
no.
as a kid.
Since the pandemic, we invested. We have our own little coffee shop now in our dining room. We have flavors and we have malted stuff. We have we have an entire shelf of bottles of different flavors. We have an espresso machine, a cappuccino machine. That way we make it ourselves. Because what is that, $6-7 when you go out into the world? And we make it all here at home. So I'll be interested to see if we can bear to pay for it when we would go out in the world. Because honestly, we know how to make all the frothy stuff and do all the whipping.
I mean,
and all that.
$6 a day isn't nothing, right?
No, that adds up. No,
Yeah.
that really adds up. So
$40 a week.
I'm glad we did it. I really enjoy actually I've learned how to make Cuban coffee.
What about for other people? Is it nice if you make a cup of coffee for your daughter or your daughter's boyfriend and then make one for you? Or is it all just catch as catch can?
They make their own kind of cold brew stuff. So they have their own system that they do. And they're always asking me if I want it, but I've become addicted to Cuban coffee. So I do that because it's a mixture of the coffee with sugar, and then you whip it and you put it on top. It's ridiculous. So I've been we've occasionally made each other drinks, but really we kind of I like it hot, they like it cold. So we do it different, but
That's what America's all about.
it's all about. Number 6 is the steak quesadilla. Steak quesadilla. Number 7, here we go again, 157% increase, an iced latte. People are getting iced
Come
lattes.
on.
I'm telling you what, people like to have their coffee brought to them. All right, we're going to round it out with number 8, fish and chips, 146%.
Wow.
Fish and chips.
Is that a comfort food, do you think?
I think so. Don't
It's
you?
crunchy and it's hot.
Greasy, and it just feels like it's something you couldn't eat every day, right?
Yeah, I enjoy good fish and chips.
I've never ordered fish and chips. So when you're talking about macaroni and cheese, there's a couple of really great southern places around here that you can get a great baked chicken with homemade mac and cheese with baked beans. It's just, and cornbread.
Oh,
so good.
Yeah.
This is funny, Tom. Number 9, 131% increase, strawberry milkshakes.
What? Where would you get that?
Here's the thing. When we order from Five Guys or Shake Shack, we do order shakes because the shakes are very good.
But do they age well on the trip over?
Not always. But here's the thing. I feel like because in New York, it's kind of such a good system. Like there's drivers close by, there's businesses close by.
Well, I've got a question.
At Five Guys,
Go on.
they'll put anything in your shake. They have all these there's like 20 choices. You could get, here's what I've ordered, a coffee malted shake with bacon bits.
They should just take those people and put them right in jail.
It's so good.
That's a violation of everything that's normal.
This is why I got the treadmill, so I can have stuff like that. And then the very last one of an increase at 126% is the roast beef sandwich.
Wow.
Roast beef.
We got the beef.
Which is something else we've never ordered. We kind of get ourselves into a rut. We're like, oh, well, let's order. We do a lot of sushi because we miss sushi. And then as far as comfort foods go, we have a lot of soul places around, like I said, where we get the cornbread and the macaroni.
Interesting. Hey, we're having an issue in this area. Now, this is just me in my own little world. I have not seen anything maybe I did see it on Facebook once. Ubers are becoming scarce.
Yeah.
Have you heard that? Or have you
Um,
experienced that?
Not here in New York because it's so necessary. It's very different here. And even during healthy times, we had an excess because everything's close. Like, we had so many drivers. I could get a driver in 2 minutes. I
Right.
noticed when I was in Florida, it would take like 10 minutes or so. And I'd be like, what the hell? 10 minutes? You could get an Uber quickly. Now, what I've heard in New York is there are so many of them, they've limited how many hours each driver can drive to spread the wealth. So do you think it's because in Florida, it's more
Somebody,
people have cars in Florida?
well, no, we still use Uber. There's a lot of drinkers and things like that.
Okay.
But it was like the complaint was A, they're hard to come by, and then B, super expensive. One person
Oh,
talked about a $65 ride to go from one spot to the other spot.
you know what? I have found your Ubers in Florida to be expensive. When I would fly into the Tampa airport and simply go to Safety Harbor, that means all I'm doing is
It's a
going over
30-minute drive. That's 30 minutes.
30 minutes. It would sometimes cost me $50.
Yeah, this time of day, yeah, that's interesting. People were saying that the Uber drivers are, they're getting their COVID money, so they're not coming out, and then B, they're tired of being abused by rude passengers, and that's kicking people out of the cycle as
Yeah.
well.
Well, I will tell you this, I could get a ride from JFK to my home, which is 45 minutes in New York for $30. When you compare that to $50 and you know what I mean? So yeah, so I don't know. I have read stories though that a lot of the Uber drivers are frustrated because of bad treatment.
Yeah. All right.
Interesting.
Well, it's been a delightful show.
I'll save the next topics because I have so much more about babies. We're low on babies.
It's
We're
been
not
a
having enough
delightful
babies
show.
right now. Do you
Last
want to
show went
wrap
over
it?
an hour.
You want to wrap it with something sexy?
That's what she said.
What do you got? You know I'm always going to ask you.
Sexy talk. You know what? I should write my sexy ideas down because I did have something.
Shit, I figured as a man, you could just pull it right out of a hat. You've got all kinds of tricks up your sleeve
I do not.
that you'd be able to share. Share something that when you're getting back into the dating world that would maybe be helpful for people because I feel like we're all a little rusty, right? We're all a little rusty getting
You know
out.
what? You should meet somebody at where they are. You should try to come in and be an empty slate. Nobody owes you anything. Your last person that mistreated you doesn't mean you've got to be suspicious of your new date.
Okay, I like that. I think that's good.
Yeah, start fresh. Fresh start it.
I like it. Well, I'm Melinda McKinsey.
I'm Tom Wise. Charlie Fresh Start. That's another
And
one in the can.
we will see you on Wednesday I don't think we have a guest this Wednesday. I've got to look at the calendar. I'm really Wednesday is the 14th. Taxes have been pushed back, everybody. In case you're panicking about April 15th, you now have till May 17th. So relax.
Relax. Let the bills
Don't
pile
worry
up.
about it. You're fine.
All right. I'm on Home Shopping at 4.
Yes. Everybody watch Tom at 4 o'clock today, HSN.
It's going to be exciting. Thank you.
Isn't that another one in the can?
I said another one in the can. Oh, I hit the button, but it didn't stop.
I didn't hear. Well, that means we need to keep going.
Another one in the can. Now we're done.